We have breaking news right now. Marco Rubio has revoked all visas for those in America from South Sudan. In addition, he has ordered the State Department to stop issuing any new visas for those from South Sudan. This is significant and will impact thousands of people living in the United States of America right now, including individuals who are going to school in America, including people who are working in America. South Sudan is facing a possible civil war. It is a country in complete calamity right now. And while many people have fled to the United States, and he's doing this because he wants South Sudan to repatriate a number of its citizens, but in his opinion, hasn't done a good enough job. And while tonight he has revoked all visas effective immediately. This is going to have significant impacts for a lot of people. So spread the word so more people are aware of what's happening, and follow along on here and on my other social platforms, my Substack, Instagram, and YouTube, all linked to my bio for more news every single day.
Marco Rubio, you are a stupid man. So the United States government is revoking South Sudanese visa holders and visas, because when the U.S. government was going through, their whole immigration issue, when, Trump wants to deport everybody, so they're starting those processes. And instead of deporting South Sudanese people to South Sudan, they deported a Congolese man. And hey, love my Congolese brothers and sisters. We should have accepted that man. But why would you deport a man to a different country that is not of his own? And how do you expect our government to respond to that? They responded with returning the Congolese man to the United States and told the U.S. that they deported the wrong person. And that man is, in fact, supposed to be deported to Congo, not South Sudan. And so as a response, because we know how narcissists respond to people telling them that they did something wrong. As a response, Marco Rubio now revokes visas for all South Sudanese people. He decides to punish all South Sudanese people for the mistake that him and his government did. And then they even cited that, the South Sudanese government has not accepted deportees, or they haven't been cooperating. But the U.S. knows we have been in war since 2013. They have they have an ambassador. They have a United States ambassador that is in Juba that should be able to tell them the current state of what's happening in South Sudan. So why would you be deporting people to a place that is in war? That's very interesting, to punish South Sudanese people because they're in a state of war and they cannot accept, deportees right now. These people, narcissistic and clearly incapable of running their own systems. And that is not South Sudan's fault. I will put a lot on the South Sudanese government, like how Salva Kiir is unaliving us right now. Yes, problematic. But this situation has nothing to do with the South Sudanese government failing. It is all on the U.S. government. The U.S. government is the one that made a mistake here, and they are trying to put it on our people. And that's weird as hell.
Marco Rubio has just announced that he'll be revoking visas for all South Sudanese nationals in the U.S. on visa status. Now, South Sudan is on the brink of a civil war. This is obviously incredibly inhumane and affects thousands of people that live in the U.S. and have potentially been in the U.S. for 4 or 5, 6 to decades at this point. Follow me for more immigration news. Or if you don't want to rely on TikTok to get your news, you can also sign up for Trump Visa Tracker, linked in bio. I was one of the people that helped develop this tool that only informs you if your nationality and or visa type are affected by any executive orders or State Department changes.
Well, the U.S. has announced that it's revoking all visas for South Sudanese passport holders and blocking new arrivals effective immediately. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says the move is in response to the African nation refusing to accept the return of its repatriated citizens. The Trump administration has taken aggressive measures to crack down on immigration, warning that countries who do not take back their citizens will face consequences. This comes as fears grow of a renewed civil war in South Sudan. Leon Fresco is an immigration lawyer and partner with the Holland and Knight law firm. He's also a former deputy attorney, assistant attorney general in charge of immigration at the United States Department of Justice, joining us from Washington, D.C. Thanks for your time. Though this is the first such measure singling out all passport holders from a particular country since President Donald Trump returned to the White House. What is your reaction to this move?
Well, the reaction is that the administration is using South Sudan in order to send a message to the rest of the world that the countries that don't take people back that the United States is trying to deport are going to suffer severe sanctions. A very similar type of conduct was taken with Colombia earlier in the administration when Colombia didn't want to take flights with people that were trying to be deported to Colombia. But this is even a step further because it's revoking the visas of all South Sudanese currently in the country. And so I think they wanted to intentionally pick a small population set of people in the United States in order to send this message to create a deterrent effect on any other country that will refuse to accept deportees back to their homeland.
So do you expect more to come, more countries to be targeted in this way?
I do. I don't know that all of them will have all of their visas revoked, because if we're talking about a country, let's say like China, where there's millions of people here as students and workers and other things, and we believe that China isn't accepting people we're trying to deport back there, that's really a sanction that in the end can't really be enforced, because you're not going to be able to do anything with millions of people to send them back to China. But for smaller countries like South Sudan, where the population we're talking about is in the hundreds, then there are possibilities that those individuals, if you cancel their visas, can be repatriated, even if it's not to South Sudan, to somewhere else. And so that's where South Sudan has to be concerned, and other smaller countries similarly have to be concerned about the possibility of such sanctions.
To what extent is Trump really trying to appeal to his base here? I mean, this is what he campaigned on, right? He campaigned on an anti-immigration platform.
Well, he's trying to show that these programs that the Biden administration did, and it did a program with South Sudan where it gave them temporary protected status to keep them in the United States, that without exception, no matter how big or small, he's going to cancel all of them, and he's going to try to repatriate those people back to their countries of citizenship. And so the South Sudan program was set to either expire or be reauthorized in early May. And so instead of reauthorizing it, he's saying it's expiring and I want South Sudan to take their folks back. And if they don't, then there's going to be sanctions. And he wants that for every single Biden program that had accepted people or that had protected people. He wants to end them all. And he wants all of these countries to take these folks back.
Okay, Leon Fresco, thank you for speaking to us from Washington, D.C. this hour.
Thank you.